Hello and welcome to Richmond TV's Community Focus, the program where we let you know what's going on in your community. We have a great show for you today. We have the Richmond High School Theater Program to talk about their upcoming show, Lovesick, the Richmond High School Robotics team, and Richmond Community Theater to talk about their upcoming Christmas show. Stay tuned and we will be right back. Hello and welcome back to Richmond TV's Community Focus. With me now is Eleanor Schmidt to talk about the upcoming Richmond High School Theater production of Lovesick. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for
having
having me. Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So when is the performance of Lovesick?
It goes up this weekend, November 10th and 11th at 7 p.m. and November 11th at 2 p.m. at the Richmond Auditorium in the high school.
Okay. So what is the plot of Lovesick?
So Lovesick is written by John Cariani, and it's basically 8 short plays in one with an overarching theme. It's all about love and loss and relationships, and each scene takes place with a relationship at its crossroads, and you see it progress from, first meet all the way up to a divorce and then sort of what happens afterwards.
So is it the same cast throughout the entire production, or do you have different for the different sections, do you have a different cast for each one?
Yes, so each scene is 2 actors, and for every scene we have different actors. We only have 1 repeat for one of our males, but it's a cast of 15.
Now, how do you handle that with set design and all that?
So the nice thing about it is that it's more of a minimal set because you have to be in so many different scenes throughout the production. But then it also gives you more artistic liberties with the set, and you can be more minimalistic and still get your point across. So we're doing a lot with different lighting, and we're really focusing more on the acting that the characters are portraying to the audience, which I think is going to make it a little bit more intimate.
Okay, that sounds like a great idea. Trying to different idea from what most productions are, because most of them are one 3-act play.
Correct.
So it's very cool that you're doing something different. So who is starring in this production?
So we have 15 high school students from freshmen all the way to seniors. Clayton, Max Mukes in it, Haley Fortuna, Olivia Wofford, to name a couple, those who have been in the theater program since the beginning, and that I've known for a very long time. And every cast, the entire cast in the show is doing a phenomenal job and really bringing their characters to life, and it's been extremely fun to watch them grow from the beginning to what we have now.
So you're a student at Richmond High School, correct?
No, I am not. I went to Richmond, but I have graduated. Thank you, though.
How long have you been a part of Richmond school theater productions?
I started last year. They took with Richmond Odd and the Southeast Michigan Youth Theater, we sort of had a contract out, and I was contracted to run the high school program. And then this year it was continued, but I was actually taken on, and I'm now, I guess, considered a Richmond Community Schools employee.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So is this the first show? So this isn't the first show you've directed. You've directed others.
Correct.
What are some of the other ones that you've directed?
With the high school, we did Thoroughly Modern Millie this past spring, and then last fall we did Play On. That's with the high school, and then I've also actively was involved with the Southeast Michigan Youth Theater, and then I'm also the artistic liaison on the board of directors for the Richmond Community Theater.
Okay. So how much are tickets, and where can you get them?
Tickets you can get at the door, so the doors open a half hour prior to the show. So for Friday and Saturday at 6:30, and for Sunday at 1:30. For adults, it is $8. If you are a student, it is $5.
Okay. Can you tell us more about the shows that are going to be happening for this season?
Yes. So for the spring, we're doing a musical. It's called Little Women. It's going to be a period piece, takes place around the time of the Civil War. So there's a lot of history to it. It's a really good piece for men and for women, especially with theater. Typically in high school, you always have, 20 girls to every 4 boys. So it's a good show to do specifically for what we have currently with our theater program.
Very cool. So how long has Lovesick been in production?
We had auditions at the end of September, and we started probably about the first week in October in rehearsing, so a little over a month. So
wow, this is a quick turnaround.
It
Because
was.
I remember back when I did theater in high school that you know we'd start in September and we'd have a show in November.
Yeah.
So that doesn't give you a whole lot of time to prep.
Yes, it was a little stressful, but all of the students have been extremely committed to the show, and they have done everything that they possibly could and went above and beyond, and I couldn't be more thrilled with where we're at right now and with the production itself.
Very cool. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, just come out and support Richmond High School's theater program. The arts are so important, and these kids have worked diligently and so hard to put on a phenomenal show. And I think that everyone that sees it will be able to relate to it to some capacity, because everybody's fallen in love, they've gone through relationship problems, and I think it's extremely relatable, and I think people will enjoy that.
Sounds like a very good show. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining me today. We'll have you back on once for your next play, of course.
Perfect.
Which was what again?
Little Women.
Little Women. So we'll have you back on for Little Women. So thank you for joining me today. Love Sick will be on Friday and Saturday at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 2 p.m. The Richmond High School Auditorium. You can get tickets at the show, and they're $8 for adults and $5 for students. And we will be right back with the Richmond High School Robotics Club, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Richmond TV's Community Focus. With us now is Nick Matthes and Wes Durke to talk about the Richmond High School robotics team. Thank you for being with us today.
Yeah, thank you.
So what is FIRST?
FIRST stands for Inspiration and Recognition in Science and Technology. And what most people don't know is that it's a K-12 program. So they have the junior FLL and the FLL, which build mini robots that play on an 8 foot by 8 foot table that usually resembles something like, so this year they're playing hydroponics, so it has to do with water conservation and stuff like that. So it's breaking up stuff that can help the world that the skills will help them later. And then it goes on to the FTC, which is the middle school team, and that's basically a foot by foot robots that can play a task on a 12 foot by 12 foot field. And then in the high school, it starts with the FRC, which is the first robotics competition, that play on a 54 foot field by 12.5 foot field, and we build robots that can be as tall as 6.5 feet and weigh up to 250 pounds. So it's pretty crazy with what you can do in the program, and just kind of keep striving.
So what part of that is you guys?
So we are the first robotics competition. We are the high school part of it. So that's grades 9 through 12, and we start in January. We get a game every year. It's called Kickoff, and we go to Kickoff and we get the game. And then from there, we have then 6 weeks to build, design, fabricate, and put together a robot that we think is going to... what?
And program.
Yes, and program.
Don't forget me.
And program the robot to be able to take on that task that we think is going to be most applicable to that game.
Okay. So what is your role then?
So I am the team captain for the team. I oversee everything based from programming to all the business stuff. Kind of just do whatever needs to get picked up and oversee of the other captains that are below me.
Okay. Now, Wes, what do you do?
I'm the programming lead for our team.
Okay.
I write code that runs the robot autonomously and just driving. And mostly I am teaching younger students how to program, getting them ready for next year when I'm not going to be there.
Okay. So even though you technically start everything starts in January, but isn't this really just don't you do everything for year round for it though?
Yeah, so usually our season really is from January to May, and from there we call what is called the off season. So usually we try and attend a few competitions to get new students behind the wall and get used to driving the robot on the field. And from there, we also do volunteer events. So one of the events that we just did previously, a week or two ago, is we actually attended a Go Baby Go organization that we partnered with our alliance, which is the Blue Water Area Robotics Alliance. And that involves teams from Port Huron, Memphis, K-Pack, Cardinal Moody, and we all get together and try and do stuff for the community. So we actually previously just took Power Wheel cars that kids from ages 2 to 6 use, and we actually converted them with a big red button on the steering wheel so that
it's a mobility device for
Right.
children who are disabled.
so children with cerebral palsy and Down syndrome are able to still have the fun that the students that don't have those disadvantages can still be able to have that fun.
Okay. So, what goes into designing a robot?
So, I mean, it can be anywhere from, an idea to something we've seen before we're going to try and replicate. So usually what we do is if you want to talk about it.
Usually we start with, it all starts kickoff. Everything has to be done before, after kickoff per the rules. But we spend about 2 days reading the rules and getting a good idea of what we can and cannot do. There's certain motors we can and can't use, certain other electronics that we can and can't use. And then after we've learned everything about the game, we spend about a week prototyping and designing, building things with wood, duct tape, glue, hot glue,
PVC pipe.
PVC pipe, a lot of PVC pipe. And then we move on to the expensive stuff. We make our final designs in CAD, and we mail those we send those out to our sponsors sometimes to CNC or weld our
CNC,
frame.
weld, laser cut. One of the biggest companies that actually has done a huge job for us is Laser Market up in town. They've done a lot of our polycarb cutting that you'll see on the robot later, and they also have a plasma cutter now, so they're hopefully going to do some of our metal stuff this year. And it's nice to have a sponsor in town that's able to do that because, I mean, we're already in a time crunch as it is. We only have 6 weeks to design and build this thing, and now with them having the chance to be able to do that stuff, I can bring something in after school and have it for our meeting that night. So with that hour turnaround, it's huge instead of having to send it out for a couple weeks.
What a lot of people don't know is we actually build 2 identical robots because at the end of that 6 weeks, we're not allowed to touch the robot we take to competition. And that really hinders our ability to program and practice with our robot. So that the identical robot, we could continue to train our drivers and
Tweak up
program.
and be able to find some flaws with it, or able to find some things that we can hopefully change at competition and make our competitive ability better.
Okay, so you don't know what design you're going to have to make until January.
January 6th, 2018, 10 o'clock.
So what have been some other designs that you've had to do in the past?
So last year it was steampunk themed, and we had to build a robot that was applicable to picking up gears from a human player station and dropping them off to what they called the airship. It was on a spring peg, and then there were 2 pilots, is what they called them, on the airship who were actually on the field that took the gears from the robots and was able to take those gears and then put them on pedestals, which is what we call to spin the rotors. And you were able to get points based on that. And then if you want to talk about Stronghold.
And a couple years ago we played a game called First Stronghold. Every year it's a completely new game. It's themed about something, like one year it was themed about soccer, but it's always completely new. This was a field that had a bunch of obstacles that the robot had to go over to score points, so you had to have a really robust design. We ended up going with 2 huge, like 8-inch wheels.
3 8-inch.
3 8-inch
On each
wheels on each side, tank drive, and some big rubber treads, and that's how
I mean, like some of the things where we had to pull them down and drive over, some of the things where it was like a rough top where we had to drive over. Another one was a low bar, which we had to drive under the bar to be able to get points. And one of the things in our design in our robot is we wanted to be able to go under the low bar because that's the most thing that really restricted us on our design. So, and then after that, they had a tower that was about 12 feet tall that we could grab gray boulders, which are like, gray dodgeballs. You were able to pick them up and then shoot them into the tower, and you were able to score points based on that. And then depending on how many boulders you entered into the tower, you were able to take down the tower and then capture their tower.
Okay.
It worked a lot like a baseball pitching machine.
Yep.
The robot could actually autonomously drive across the low bar and shoot 1 boulder into the tower.
Okay, that was another question I had, because from everything you've talked about, it sounds like half of this is remote controlled, and then half of this you have to actually program
Right.
the
Yeah.
you actually have to program the robot
Right.
and have it
Yeah, it
have a
does
little bit of
things-
intelligence
So-
in order to.
A match is laid out where the first 20 seconds,
15.
we're 15 seconds?
15 seconds.
Maybe it's 15 seconds, where we're not allowed to touch the controls, and the robot has to be able to do things on its own to score points during that time.
So
And then the
usually,
rest
like-
of the 2 minutes and 30 second match, we can touch the controllers. But the biggest opportunity to score points is in that first 15 seconds. Last year we used computer vision, digital compass, and you can't use GPS. That's something a lot of people say, well, why don't you use GPS? We can't.
We can't.
To guide our robot from any of 3 starting positions that we pre-program to that peg to place a big plastic disc on. Yeah.
Okay. So it sounds like from everything that you've described that this is a pretty expensive ordeal.
Oh, yeah.
Now, do you get funding from the school, or do you have to collect it on your own?
So unfortunately, the school does not fund us at all. Their way of funding us is giving us a room to work out of, which they haven't previously. So I guess we're not in turmoil, but in a way that the school can't give us the funds that we're looking for. So every year, bare minimum, we spend right around $25,000 a year. $5,000 of that being just to register our team for our 2 events. That doesn't count, any of the travel, any of the robot or anything. And then for the state competition, it's another $4,000 just to register for. It doesn't include travel, housing, food, or anything. And then the world competition, which will actually be held in Detroit this year at Ford Field, costs another $5,000 just to register, not including any of the travel or anything, where it was previously in St. Louis. And then robots can cost from anywhere, $4,000 with parts, add another $3,000. It just keeps tacking up and tacking up. So the biggest way that we raise our money is fundraising. We do the Michigan-made air freshener fundraiser every year. The students do have them, so if you're watching this and interested in buying one, contact one of the robotics kids. We also go businessly in the city to ask them for sponsorships. So we have what we call our sponsorship opportunity form, and we hand those out, and we like to make partnerships with businesses locally. So in exchange for a monetary donation or whatever, they can help us out. We put their logo on our sponsor T-shirts that we wear at competitions, and we also put them on a sponsor panel that's actually on our robot. So their logo will be displayed on our robot.
Okay. That's cool. So you mentioned some of your sponsors before, but how many sponsors do you have in total?
So currently we have right around over 30, but a lot of them are only, $100 or something. But obviously anything helps us. 2 of our biggest sponsors, one is the Richmond Rotary. They've been with us since we started, and they help us out every year. So they're a huge sponsor. We make sure we want to keep that connection with them. And then another sponsor is the Allwood Building Components, who builds the wood trusses right across from the high school. They've been with us since we started, and they're always helping us out. And then one of our new sponsors that we just got through a grant is Base Systems. So the company that works on all the government tanks and stuff, we applied for a grant and received that grant as having one of our mentors work at Base Systems. So it's really just trying to get out in the community and filling out grants when you can, and trying to figure out, there's money, we just got to get it. So.
Oh, that's a lot to put on you guys. I mean, not just the funding. You have to design and build the robot, get the funding for it. Now, and you also have to put in volunteer time, correct?
Right. Yep. So our team requires 10 hours of community service and 10 hours of demonstration. One way we do that is through the Richmond Rotary. We ring the bell for them at Kmart and Kroger. We do Habitat for Humanity sometimes whenever we can. And if you think about it, one of the biggest ways that students can get their hours is we do a ton of community service. So 10 hours is really bare minimum for what they need to get because we do so many events during the summer, and whenever we can help something out, like the Go Baby Go thing with the power wheels and stuff. So they have opportunities to get those hours, but we make sure to require that to make sure we're giving back to the community.
Okay. So I just got to say, every year you guys are in the parade. You're near the front.
Yep.
Who is the T-Rex?
That's undisclosed information.
He's not on our team, though. He's a member of the
Merits? 17, 18 are married.
17, 18, the Fighting Pie, our Matthes team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we usually like to invite 3 to 4 FRC teams to join us in the parade because we think it's cool that we can integrate teams from different cities to be able to enter into a parade, and then we go into their parade. So it's really cool to have the FRC presence in at the parade.
Okay. So the other thing, one other thing I wanted to ask now, you say competition, but is this really a competition, like two teams going up against each other?
No, and it's not I still consider it a competition, but it's not necessarily the two teams like basketball or football where you got two cities going at it. So what actually happens is there's usually 40 teams in a district, and then from there we have qualification matches.
Up to 160 matches just in qualifications before we move on to the finals. In each match, including the finals and qualifications, there's 6 teams participating. You actually have to work with 2 other teams on an alliance against the other 3 teams in every match.
Okay.
Yep, and then based on from how you do in the qualification matches and where you rank, you get points based on how you were ranked. And then the top 8 teams going into Saturday afternoon. So if you didn't know, our competitions are all day Friday, all day Saturday. Going into Saturday afternoon, we do the line selection. So the top 8 teams get to pick 2 robots that they are willing to play with in the elimination rounds. And then from there, 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, and they go until we have a winning alliance.
Isn't there a lot of cooperation between the teams?
Oh, yeah. So it's really it's funny, though, because, one match you can be strategizing with one team and be going at it and trying to take down a powerhouse. On the next match, you could be going against that team. So, I mean, it's kind of, there's a pro and a con to it because it's a pro because you're used to working with that team and that might be one of the teams that you're going to want to select. Or it can be a con where you go into the next match against them and they may know that, something that we can't do or something that can hurt us to be able to use that as their advantage.
Okay. There's a lot to cover here. Program sounds awesome. I hope more kids in the future get involved with it. Is there anything else that either of you would like to add?
If you're interested in our robotics team, you can go to thebluealliance.org and search Team 4130 or the Blue Devils. And from that page, you can actually watch us play, or you can go to our Weebly page.
You have a Twitter and Facebook.
Twitter,
also.
Facebook, Instagram. We're all over.
Okay. So thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you.
We're going to be right back with Nick and West again. They're going to be giving us a demonstration of their robot. So we'll be right back. Welcome back to Richmond TV's Community Focus. So now we have the Richmond Robotics team doing a demonstration for us. Nick, why don't you tell us a little about this robot?
So in case it's what's going to happen, you're going to see the yellow balls fly out of the robot. It's pretty big. The robot's going to be down here. You're going to see in a second. Those yellow balls are about 5 inches in diameter. They are resemblance to the yellow wiffle balls. Our robot can hold up to 130 of those balls at a time, and we shoot right around 2 balls a second. So, yep. And then we have a wheel on a flywheel that spins right around 16,000 RPM, and it's kind of loud, so here you go.
Okay. First, why don't you just show us a simple spin? And you're doing all of that with just the with the controllers here, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And this one we drive, that one's shooting.
Okay, so this is a 2-man job. All right. So why don't you start it up? Why don't you fire some balls at camera 2? So
Yeah, keep pressing it.
okay, so why don't you hold off for a minute? So this trap right here allows you to pick the balls back up, or
Yes.
the one below it.
Yep,
No,
so
no,
this,
no, the one-
this
the
blue
one
one right
below it
here,
is
we're able
here.
to pick up the balls off the floor And that's what keeps us, when the balls are scattered out the field, we still have a chance to get to them.
Okay, so why not for this last demonstration? Can you let them all go at once?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Really quick. Let's pick up.
I'll make sure.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the final part of our segment. We are going to release them all at once. This should be a sight to see. Why don't we stay on camera too for this one? Whoops. Got 3 over here.
All right, go.
Okay, so
No. I'm 90% sure we stripped out the gear on the feeder.
some got out in an unconventional way.
We lost code.
Probably. I don't think it's either not getting the speed or something. I don't
So
think.
anyway.
Okay, so Wes, why don't you come back over here? You can stand right over here. All right, so this is your robot from last year, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Wes, get over here.
All right.
Okay, so what did you just say you think happened?
The code will not allow balls to go out until it hits that 16,000 RPM, and we have a low battery right now, so.
Well, it was still a very cool demonstration. Thank you both for bringing this to us.
Thank you.
We hope to have you on here in future, and you can show us your new robot.
Yeah.
But overall, very good thing. And as everyone just noticed there, never look down the barrel of a gun, because that's basically what that was, and my head almost came off. All right, thank you very much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
And we will be right back with Richmond Community Theater to talk about A Christmas Story coming up this Thanksgiving weekend. And we'll be right back. Hello and welcome to Richmond TV's Community Focus, the show where we talk about what's going on in your community. Today, my guest is Kris Howell from the Richmond Community Theater. How you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Thank you for being with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
So, first up, why don't we talk about your upcoming show?
Yes.
So you have A Christmas Story coming in?
I do. We're doing a dinner theater presentation at Matthes. It will be Thanksgiving weekend. This is a fundraiser for the Richmond Community Theater building, and we've been doing this fundraiser since the late 1990s.
What was your first show there?
I believe it was A Christmas Carol.
Okay, It's a that's a good classic.
We try and do a Christmas-themed show every single year.
Well, you couldn't have picked a better one than Christmas Story.
I know, you'll shoot your eye out.
Right?
Yeah. It took us a while to get this show because it's on Broadway and it was created into a musical. So because of that, they weren't allowing us to have the copyright to do the show. So this year was the first year that they let the copyright for the show be out. So we're really excited to do it.
How much are tickets?
Tickets are, I have to look, tickets are $35 for adults and $15 for children, and a child would be 12 and under.
Okay. Now, brain fart. Sorry. Where can you buy the tickets?
You can buy the tickets at Maniachi's, either at the banquet hall or over at the Richmond Flower Shop. So you can call if you'd like. The telephone number is 586-727-1011 and order them right over the phone with your credit card. There's also a website, I believe, richmondcommunitytheater.com.
Who's going to be starring in the show this year?
Well, we're really excited to have John Gnosis, who will be our Ralphie. John is 10 years old and he comes from New Haven. As the father, who has all of the swearing ability, we have Bob Wolf and Martha Wolf. The Wolfs have played in many of my Christmas shows, so I'm excited to have them back. As grown-up Ralphie, we have Brian Braun, and he is the current artistic director of the Richmond Community Theater. And the rest, I mean, there are so many stars in this cast that and they come from Richmond, they come from Memphis, Shelby, Kimball, Chesterfield, all over the area.
So I guess my biggest question is that, did you guys get the lamp?
We did get the lamp. We actually have had the lamp. We created it the first time we did the show, and the show was done in 2005. So we still have the lamp. Thank you, Susan Foster, for her artistic abilities.
So who gets to take it home after the show's over with?
No one. It goes back into storage for the next time we use it.
All right. Well, I hear you have a performance lined up for us. After this segment?
I do. You're going to see different clips of the children and the school teacher. And also I'd like to mention our young Randy is actually a little girl, and her name is Isabella Caracciolo, and I'm so sorry, you guys. Anyway, she donated her hair to Wigs for Kids.
That's really
cool.
cool.
We are very excited that she agreed to play a little boy and cut her hair.
That is awesome.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, thank you, Kris, for joining us. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, just that this is a fundraiser for the Richmond Community Theater. We've gotten a matching grant from the state of Michigan to put in a new heating and cooling system into our 130-year-old building.
Wow.
So this show, we are trying to raise $15,000. We have $8,300 committed so far. So if there's anybody out there who would like to help us have a little air conditioning in the theater, please let me know.
Well, I'm sure the entire community will be able to get out there and help you guys out.
Okay, thank you so much.
Not a problem. Okay. All right, so we will be right back with a performance from the Richmond Community Theater. Hello, and welcome back to Richmond TV's Community Focus. So for now, we have a performance from the Richmond Community Theater on their upcoming show, A Christmas Story. Take it away.
And how is the book report coming, Helen?
So, while the virtual velocity of light is infinite, the appearance will always appear to be the same. Even though Morley experiment proves that Dr. Einstein's theory is seriously flawed, I still enjoyed his books, The Principle of Relativity. It was a nice break from my Shakespeare studies.
Very good, Helen. That was a fine book report.
Thank you, Miss Shields.
Go whenever you're ready.
Know what Roxanne said?
What? Ralph Parker likes you.
Really?
I think he's cute. Don't you think he's cute? I like older men.
Older?
6th graders.
Oh.
Have you picked a subject for your theme?
No. Something about politics, maybe?
Maybe I will, too.
Are you a Democrat or Republican?
Presbyterian.
Save me! Save me! It's Ralphie the Kid, come to fight the bad guys, and he's carrying Old Blue, his legendary official Red Ryder carbine action 200-shot range model air rifle with a compass and this thing which tells time built right into the stock.
Now don't you folks worry none. We'll make short work on these polecats, I reckon. What you figure we up against here?
Well, Ralphie the Kid, I sort of figure it's Black Bart and his desperados. They're packing pistols and daggers. They come in by air on a tin Zeppelin with little wheels and a friction motor.
I ain't seen the desperado alive that can stand up to me once I get him in my special cloverleaf sight of Old Blue, my legendary official Red Ryder carbine action 200-shot range mile air rifle with a compass and this thing which tells time built right into the stock.
That's what I said.
Reckon I better have a look-see.
Oh no, it's Ralphie the Kid.
With Old Blue, his legendary official Red Ryder carbine action 20-shot range mile air rifle
With a compass and this thing which tells time built
right into the stock.
Vamoose, boys. Not even pistols and daggers could beat Old Blue. You win this time, Ralphie the Kid. I'm headed for the border, but I'll be right back.
Adios, Bart, but I'm warning you, if you come back, you'll be finding yourself pushing up daisies on Boot Hill, because these here squatters are under my personal protection. And wherever Ralphie the Kid is, you'll always find Old Blue, his legendary official Red Ryder carbine action 200-shot range mile air rifle with the compass and the thing which tells time built right into the stock.
All right, great job. Great job. Why don't you come over here? Stand next to me right here. Why don't you get up? Okay, so why don't you tell us what your name is?
Hi, I'm John Opsis.
And you're playing Ralphie?
Yes.
Okay, so what's your favorite thing been about this show so far?
Probably describing the Red Ryder BB gun.
You do that very well.
I do it like 5 times on the show.
That's great.
More than that.
What's your name?
I'm Isabella Cracchiolo.
Hi, Isabella. Now, I heard that you used to have really long hair. What
Yeah.
happened to it?
I cut it for the show and I donated it.
How much did you end up donating?
10 inches.
Whoa, that's great. So I'd like to thank both of you for coming out and everyone else who performed on this show. It's a great treat to have everyone here. So you can watch Richmond. You can catch Richmond TV on Comcast Channel 6 and on YouTube at Richmond TV 12. You can view this and any other program there. And also, so have a great night.